Folks, welcome into That Betting Show, February 6, 2019. It is Hump Day Wednesday. We're looking towards the hard court here, folks. As you know, on That Betting Show, it's your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, designed to get to you in under 20 minutes or less. Surprise, surprise today. The big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau, is joining us today. I'm Donnie Seymour. If you want to give us a follow here, please feel free to do so at RightSideVP. And Jeff, for the people out there that don't know your Twitter handle by now, what is it?
You can find me on Twitter at Jeff Nadeau. Always good to be with you, Donnie. We've done many a show together. Happy to be on. How you doing?
Reunited, brother. Let's get right into it. Hot topics of the day, Jeff. I mean, you can't get away from this. ESPN, CBS, SportsbookReview.com. Topic du jour of the day, the trade market. Will the Lakers score? Who are they going to get? Anthony Davis for the whole team. It's the Sixers, Jeff, that come to the table first and make a move to try to advance in the Eastern Conference. As we see here, the Sixers strike the first deal in the East, making a move for a stretch four. Tobias Harris in a multiplayer deal. A lot went down in this trade, Jeff. Your first thoughts here, because we're both Sixer fans. We're both on the East Coast. Your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Sixer fan, you should be real happy waking up this morning. This is a player and a group of players that the Sixers sorely needed. They needed that stretch four that can go out and spot up and hit a shot. This is a guy, Donnie, that Tobias Harris really should probably be an all-star. I mean, 21 points a game. He's one of those guys that maybe he's not that big name guy, but he's bounced around and been really good. He's become one of those really good stretch fours. Donnie, you look at the Sixers, one thing that they really have struggled in is that spot-up shooting category. You look at per Synergy Sports. Synergy tracks basketball stats and trends. The Sixers are 21st in that stat in the NBA. You look at Tobias Harris, one of the best spot-up shooters in the league at almost 1.28 points per possession. So this is something that will sorely help what they need. They also get a backup big and Boban Marjanovic, who probably be a big fan favorite in this town. You had Mike Scott, who has that 3-and-D potential. So, yeah, I think if you're the Sixers, maybe you make one more move for a bench player, Wesley Matthews, that kind of player. But if you're a Sixer fan, you got to be golf over the moon with this move.
No, I thought it was a really good move off the cuff of it. If we take a look down, because you saw last year as well, Jeff, taking a look at the Sixers, the buyout market was very interesting. And you can add that veteran piece coming off the bench. I know a lot of people looking, saying, well, who's going to be the point guard? Obviously Ben Simmons is, but somebody else that's going to be able to facilitate with that starting five. But it's one of the more talented teams in the East. We always talk about and put that gambling aspect into it, Jeff. FanDuel and DraftKings here in New Jersey, both spotting a plus 1,600 for the Sixers to win the NBA title. But if you're shopping off market, betonline.ag, Jeff, plus 2,500. We can't stress enough, looking around the markets here and getting the best price possible. And sometimes, Jeff, because I know you bet futures as well, it's not really about the Sixers winning the title, but it's about putting yourself in position if they make a run to cash off of these futures, right?
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I think, you look at this move, you got to figure at this point, the Sixers have to be the favorite coming out of the East. I know Toronto, obviously, they can still make a move. We still have, 24 hours or so from the deadline, but you look at this big four, and I think obviously going forward, Nani, it's can they keep this big four? It looks like the Sixers are going to try to do it. I think the Sixers need to go out and make one more move. You mentioned the buyout market. If you can go buy out Wesley Matthews, I think that's got to be something you look at. You also look at a guy like Trevor Ariza. You'd have to think the Wizards might maybe look to move him. I would love Lou Williams. That would be the reunion I'd love to see, Donnie. If you could somehow get Lou Williams as well. I don't know if that will happen, but he'd be my number one. But Wesley Matthews could be a nice fixture as well. But yeah, you mentioned the odds there. I mean, that's a ridiculous price, Donnie, on the Sixers. You look at, Donnie, I have a local bookmaker, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's offering the Sixers right now 7-1 to win the NBA title. I mean, you said you're getting at 25-1 at certain books.
25-1 at Bet Online offshore right now if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at the book. It's funny because my book is based in Philadelphia. You look at the tax you have to pay to bet the Sixers at this point. I mean, that's an amazing discrepancy between two books. But yeah, if you could get 25-1, I would strongly urge jumping on that.
It's certainly to change here, Jeff. Come up with the Lakers. How about last night? Dropped by 42 points on the road to the Oladipo-less Pacers. Teddy and I talked about it yesterday. Lines were moving yesterday, bouncing between 2.5 and 3. The Lakers look like that surefire public side going to roll in and maneuver. They got absolutely hammered. And the question we had yesterday, Jeff, is when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, I mean, LeBron is maneuvering behind the scenes. So two players are going to be effective. It looks like they're giving up almost their entire team in order to get Anthony Davis. So if you're a Laker right now, Jeff, it's just human nature. where is your level of interest at for actually helping the Lakers win when you don't know if you're going to be here in 24 to 48 hours at this point? They got thrashed yesterday. It should be interesting going forward because even, Jeff, if they make a trade at the deadline or don't make a trade at the deadline, some of these players are going to feel a little bit scorned and say, you know what? This is a business at the end of the day. And I think the lasting picture yesterday from the Los Angeles Lakers had to be LeBron James literally sitting a mile away on the bench as they got blown out there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this team right now, it's a mess. I mean, and this is what LeBron James does to your basketball team. While he's the best player in the world and he's one of the best players ever, it is polarizing every single thing he does. And at this point, Donna, we saw it. And you and I talked about it on our various shows. We saw, LeBron James when he's injured, standing not with the team, but standing with Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka. He just, obviously, he pulls the strings. People know that. And I think last night was kind of evidence of what this team is. Right now, they're a pretty gutless team that I don't think really wants to play for this organization. A lot of these guys kind of know where they stand, I think, at this point. It's Donnie, almost like trying to kill your best friend, and then the next day you decide, oh, I don't really want to kill my best friend, and you expect your best friend to come back with open arms and say, we're still best friends. You just can't do that kind of thing. You can't shop these guys. It is a business, but to do stuff like this, I mean, it's a player on your team doing it a lot of the time. The picture was blown out of proportion. I think, at the end of the day, anything LeBron does is going to be polarized. But it was truly an interesting picture. You see him on one side, you see them on the other. It's strictly kind of almost like a line in the sand at this point. I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, Thursday trade deadline. We'll keep you up to date here at sportsbookreview.com. So check in for all the latest information on the NBA. MLB rule changes on the table. Looks like a stalemate might be coming forward. Player stoppage. They're trying to angle for a few different details here before we get there. Some of these rule changes, interesting, and it's designed, Jeff, to pick up the pace of play. 3 batter minimum for pitchers, which I agree with. 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, 9th innings are taking way too long at this point. A universal DH, which, if you're looking at the National League right now, you like some of the gamesmanship where, you have to pull your pitcher and not pull your pitcher. But it's a lot more fun when the pitcher doesn't bat because you might get a viable at-bat out of it. Trade deadline before the All-Star game, which is a really interesting one, and a 20-second pitch clock, so it doesn't take 5 minutes for each individual pitcher here. Now, whether or not you like this, America's pastime, as I like to call it, some of these rule changes are designed to make sure it's not going to be a pastime in America that we watch baseball. There's no doubt in my mind, fast-paced time, everybody's on their phone. You do have to speed up the game. Some of these things designed to, Jeff. Yes or no on some of these, or what are your thoughts on making some changes to try to improve the pace of play here in baseball?
Listen, anything you could do to make the game faster, I'm in favor of. I don't think anyone isn't in favor of that. Look, there's something great about going to a baseball game, and you can step away for a second, and you're not going to miss a whole lot. But again, some of these games just become monotonous at some points. Donnie, I've argued the designated hitter point for a long time. It's the only sport in the world where one group has an advantage over another.
Yep.
It makes absolutely no sense to allow one league to have a designated hitter, the other team doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense. It's almost like when you're playing soccer, you have one team with 10 men the whole game and the other with 11, and that's how every game is. It doesn't make any sense. It needs to be fixed, and I'm glad the Players Association is standing up and saying this is unfair. We need to make this universal. It needed to happen. It should have happened a long time ago. The other rules that I'm all in favor with, anything to make this game quicker, I think we're all in favor of.
Overnight line moves here, Jeff. If you're not following SBRodds.com, as we know, money never sleeps. Neither do the lines. They're changing at all hours of the day. SBRodds.com, your first source there to get these line changes. Big East Tilton Providence, Jeff. When we spoke a little bit earlier today, we said the Friars were opened up at 3, moving to 4. I'm looking right now at SBRodds.com, Jeff, -5.5. It looks like some of the sharps out there have spoken for the Providence Friars, total of 149. Now still sitting at 149 at this point. Money line split, Jeff, +160, -180. What are we looking at here? Why is this line moving?
Yeah, that's a good question, Donnie. You look at all these games. There's always these weird moves, these weird things. And again, you and I are no stranger to finding these games where, stuff just doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe an injury. We'd have to look in more into Georgetown a little bit. Maybe, people are just buying into Providence in this spot. But, Georgetown's been a run and gun team. They've been a team I've enjoyed watching this year. I don't know that I understand this move. But again, this is a kind of a lesson to anyone out there. Make sure you're looking this stuff up. Don't just say, if you're not getting the best of a line, sometimes it's just okay to pass. You don't want to bet a game at the worst of it. If you like Providence and you didn't get on them early, it's maybe just time to recognize, oh, I just missed that one. I'll move on. As far as why this line's moving, I can't really answer that. Maybe Mac McClung took a knock in practice yesterday. We have to keep abreast of this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looks like Georgetown taking the early public side here with about 62% as we look there at SBRodds.com. But a clear line movement indication, 2.5 points here in a major college basketball game is kind of interesting to look at. A10 injury info, Jeff, dropping for UMass. Two things here. First, let's take a look at the line here as we have Fordham going up to UMass to play. Opened up at 7, now sitting at 5 in some spots. So a 2-point line drop. But more interesting here, Jeff, offshore accounts, Pinnacle, Chris, opened up somewhere around 132.5. We're now showing 128, and that could be due to some injury information here.
Yeah, you look at Lawan Pipkins, might not play in this game. And you look at Donnie at what UMass wants to do on offense. They're a slashing team. They want to get into the paint. They've started to play this in and out kind of game where they're getting Rasheed Holloway a little bit more touches. But Lawan Pipkins makes them go. I've seen him live. He's a terrific scorer. Can get to the paint. Really can do all sorts of different things. He hasn't been as much a scorer this year, but he's dimed out a lot of assists. Been that go-to point guard that they must have in the lineup. What this does now, Carl Pierre has to take on a bigger role. Carl Pierre, I think, isn't as good as getting it to the lane. He's not as forthright to get into the lane and do things. So it's definitely going to hurt UMass's offense. Matt McCall's offense, when Pipkins isn't going, can become a little stagnant at times. Fordham, not a team that plays with a ton of pace generally either. They don't have a lot of guys that can really get a bucket when you need one. I worry about this game if you like the over. But we have seen an interesting move. You look at some of these reports out there, a lot of these sharp bettors are liking the over in this game. Could mean maybe behind the scenes, Pipkins might be a bit more healthy than people might lead on. We saw that last night in St. Louis's game, Donnie, against the game they played last night against Dayton. Javon Best didn't. It was questions of if he would play or not. I know you kind of were interested in that. He ended up playing. They win the game by 13. These players are important for teams like UMass and Dayton and St. Louis. Pipkins is as important as it gets.
Bucks heavy public side tonight coming in, Jeff. We're going to take a look at the total here, which looks like it's rebounded a little bit. Opened up offshore at betonline.ag at 231, dropped down to 228. But at the time of filming the show, Jeff, looks like we have a rebound back to 230. Points are expected here between the Wizards and the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, John Wall's injury with his Achilles has no bearing on this line since he's already been out. But we're seeing some volatility in the market early on. Bucks favored by 12. Over under there at 230 at this point. Moneyline split, Jeff, plus 700, minus 1100. So some interesting stuff going down here, but the Bucks look like they're the public charm right now.
Yeah, they do. And this is kind of, you look at the last few days in the NBA, Donnie, a lot of people have some volatility around with the trade market. A lot of people not wanting to get involved, kind of stay away from the NBA right now. But I think for a bettor like me or kind of a bettor that looks in a line move, these are the best kind of games to get involved with. A lot of people are going to be down on the Wizards. No John Wall. What do they have now? But they're getting a boatload of points here. You got a Bucks team that's kind of rolling. They look at this game kind of midweek. Oh, we got the Wizards. They're obviously not a team that we have to worry a ton about. Look, they're definitely gonna win this game, Donnie. But you're asking them to win by double digits. Anytime I can get double digits in the NBA, I'm looking at the dog. Generally, what will happen in these kind of spots, Donnie? These are professionals. These are the best 400 players in the world in one league. What's going to happen is when a player goes out, another player is going to step up. That's how it works in this league. And I'm always generally interested, Donnie, surprisingly, in teams that are without their best player. A lot of the time they're getting a better effort. You look at last night, case in point, the Memphis Grizzlies. They were without, Marcus Gasol. They were without certain players. They found a way, really put it together and won their game. So I'm always looking sometimes generally to get on these kind of spots. Other players are going to step up, a guy like a Chasen Randall or Troy Brown Jr., someone like that for the Wizards. I'm willing to think they can cover this big impost. A lot of points.
Watch what you bet here tonight, Jeff. Watch that betting show. It goes hand in hand right now. And also give us a follow at SBR Sports Picks on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Every single time that betting show goes live, you get the notification to view this programming designed to get to you in 20 minutes or less, Jeff. Talking about the Spurs and the Warriors tonight, minus 11 on ESPN, live from Oracle tonight. We take a look at the line splits here. As we just said, the Warriors are minus 11, total of 233.5, money line split of plus 562, minus 800. The interesting thing that you look at, Jeff, the Warriors, so hard to bet against when you put in your head, right? You say, man, dominant team, I don't want to go against them, but they are money burners here. They're not over 500. The Warriors are actually, Jeff, 10, 15, and 1 against the spread at home. You say, ooh, how about those Spurs? I mean, at least they're trying to keep their head above water. 13, 12, and 1. What's going to give in this battle? 10:30 tonight, ESPN national game. Should be an interesting watch.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. You look at the Spurs tonight. No DeRozan, no LaMarcus Aldridge. That's going to be trouble for the Spurs now. I kind of just talked about how you maybe look to want to get on a team like this. But you look at the Spurs, Donnie, 43 points per game going to be out of the lineup tonight. You also look at Pau Gasol. He's on the trading block. This team's not defending at a high level either. This Golden State team, as we know, one of the most, one of the best offenses we've ever seen. You look at Spurs, you'd have to think they're going to struggle tonight defensively and obviously offensively. This Spurs team, even with these guys in it, has not been particularly good defensively. You think maybe an over, but then you see those two guys out. That's going to hurt the total a little bit. I'd almost look to the Warriors here. Obviously, sometimes you want to get on these situations, and maybe I'm hypocritically knocking the argument I just made. But in this kind of spot where you're losing so much production, it's hard to rectify right now. The Warriors, no one's getting traded there. They're kind of just keeping their eye on the prize. Maybe an under, too. I think the Spurs could struggle a little bit to score here. There's just not a lot of options right now for this team offensively.
Yeah, actually, when we're filming the show right now, it's actually 14.5 now. So you saw a 3.5-point surge since the time we punched up the script to How's It Getting Live, as well as 230.5. So some interesting line movements there, which, again, watch what you bet. Ties right into SBRodds.com. If you're not getting those line changes, not shopping around for the books, don't be left out in the cold. So a big margin there with players coming in and out, and certainly a 3 to 3.5-point line move here, Jeff. Let's move it to some college basketball here. Mountain West, top dog, Nevada, heads on the road. The one interesting thing that we take a look at the Mountain West, Jeff, is Nevada bored at this point? And the reason I say that is they're so talented. They should win the league. They have a lot of players that have been around the block, and they know the end goal is let's make a Final Four. Let's make an Elite Eight. Let's make a run maybe on the outside at an NCAA title. Coming in tonight as a heavy favorite, looking at some of the lines updated right now. Opened up 13.5, Jeff, sitting at about 12.5. Over under. Interesting surge here. Opened up at 150.5 offshore, now showing 155.5, Jeff.
Yeah, big move up in the total here. Obviously, I think a lot of people are looking at the last game, Donnie, these two teams played. And I'll also add into the fact that in that game, Nevada put 100 points up on the board. And that was 3 or 4 minutes late where they had a lot of end of the bench guys in. They could have probably put up 110. They were just on fire in this game offensively. Nevada's won 7 in a row, but you look at the last 3, Donnie, that they've won 93.3 points a game in those games. This is a team that right now is just on fire offensively. They've been a good road team. They had 13 threes in that first game. I'd have to figure that's not going to change here. Colorado State is a poor defensive team, but I'm willing to think, Donnie, that Nico Carvaccio can kind of do his thing down low. He didn't have a great game the first time. And we also have to remember at about the 10-minute mark, Colorado State, they basically just, I think, kind of accepted their fate in the game, and really you didn't see the same effort, but they actually played very well in the first half. I think they were within 6 in the first half, so I'd expect, and I see the move up. This is another one of those games where, Donnie, you have to kind of recognize these moves early and where the line's going to go. I think we all kind of realized when this line came out, it was only going to go up, and you already see a 3-point move up. If you got the early move, Donnie, on this game, or you avoided the early move, congratulations.
No, it should be fun, interesting to watch. 2 national games that we can watch, both out there on the West Coast. We'll have some fun here. Jeff, off the mic segment here. And again, we're going to deal with the Lakers. They're the hot topic right now. And the reason that this is that betting show is we do like to gamble out here. The question I have for you here off the mic is, we're seeing on the Lakers, somebody's going to get traded, somebody's not going to get traded. We're going to trade our half team. We want AD. Does he come here in the offseason? Does he force a trade? That's all fine and good. But the Lakers right now sit offshore at around plus 1,400 to win the NBA title. Question I have for you here is there value on the Lakers right now? Are you jumping this line, figured they get AD? Or does the value stay the same if they don't make the trade and come back healthy and make a playoff run? Not to say they're going to win it, but where do you think that value is? With a trade for the Lakers or with the Lakers passing? Which one's better?
I mean, it's clear they're interested. I mean, they offered literally, Donnie, everyone but Rajon Rondo and LeBron James. look, I have no interest in the Lakers right now. I don't have any interest. Even if they add Anthony Davis, I don't think they're going to beat the Warriors. To me, it's Warriors or nothing. I have no interest in the Lakers right now. The volatility right now is there, and they've already showed their hand, Donnie. Pelicans, for some reason, weren't interested. I think both teams have made weird decisions in this whole thing. No, I have no interest in the Lakers whatsoever in the market.
Something to keep your eye on here. Jeff filled in fantastically for Teddy Covers here on That Betting Show today for February 6, 2019. Your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, designed to get you in and out in under 20 minutes, which we did today. He's Jeff. I'm Donnie. We'll see you tomorrow on That Betting Show.